It's been a year since my last video on Nattie Forsyth, and to nobody's surprise, some more stuff would come out about them in expected but still disappointing fashion. It turns out that this person's degeneracy runs far deeper than we thought, and when putting the pieces together one more time, I can't help but feel some sort of mixture of shock and rage and a whole bunch of other emotions all at once. Shout out to the channel members like always, and if you'd like to support yourself, you can check out my Patreon in the corner or YouTube memberships by clicking the join button. Now with that out of the way, let's get right into everything and see what's gone down since a year from today. Right after I released my video, Nat would catch wind of it and drop a comment saying that there's nothing solid to the story, that they'd be exploring their options, and that they'd be dropping their own response videos saying that mine is a joke. They would continue to play up this sarcastic and mocking tone on their community tab page by promoting my video on it and kinda just ranting about, but it was clear that they were upset that the situation was being brought up again. I also somehow missed a vital piece of evidence showing them advocating for the destigmatization of pedophilia, which was extremely concerning to see given their past actions online, so here's a short clip from that for the sake of it.
So this video might be a bit controversial, it might have me lose some subscribers, but I don't really care because as long as it gets through to at least one person, then that's a good impact on the world in my opinion. Well, not even in my opinion, like it is objectively correct.
They'd also reply showing that they don't understand that they're the last person to be talking about this subject matter and try to twist the point I was making, which was none too surprising given their past of twisting people's words and playing semantical arguments to weasel their way out of things. They would even go on to try and imply that I'm being bad-faced because I used old footage back before they shaved their facial hair and say I lied about the age differences, and try to say that people attacked them in real life over this in the past, when in reality it was just thinly veiled attempts to seem like a victim without any evidence to boot. Nat will go on to post a poll on her channel deciding if they should go ahead and make the response video or not depending what their subscribers said, and go on Twitter to say that I was slandering them, trying to imply what I talked about is just belief despite the hard evidence throughout, and again try to say they were attacked over this situation in real life. They would continue to rage on Twitter and say that I beat my girlfriend and continue to try and downplay both my video and the evidence seen throughout, and even post a screenshot of that on their YouTube community tab for good measure. I also noticed in the reply they tried to downplay the age gaps as just 1 or 2 years, showing how far they were willing to lie and change the story to fit a false narrative they were trying to scheme up. There was one piece of evidence that I purposefully left out because I wanted to see how Nat would respond. This evidence takes place before the December 21st, 2021 response video in which Nat downplays the Craze situation saying that they asked for images from her semi-ironically. Again, on December 21st, 2021, Nat said they asked for images from Craze semi-ironically. I want you to keep that in mind.
Dumb f***ing like idea everyone had that I was at like ask her for nudes and shit. I'd even asked in voice notes like, oh come on, it will only take 1 second. Like I was asking semi-ironically.
Well, on November 4th, 2021, a month before they made that video, YouTuber Grimsy would interview Nat after he ran across the allegations himself, and in doing so, Nat would tell a very interesting story to him. Nat would chat with him and say that the DMs they sent to Craze were joke DMs at first, but then just a minute later they would admit that it wasn't a joke and that they were interested in her the entire time.
Let me check the DMs. I don't know. I know I was interested in this person, which is why like I asked for nudes and stuff.
So it wasn't a joke?
Well, like I was joking around a lot in the group chat, but I was interested in the
Snapchat
person,
asking her for nudes was not a joke?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
This video was obviously posted a month before the aforementioned response video, in which now they said that they asked for images semi-ironically trying to pass it off as a joke, when we now know that just a month before they admitted the messages to Craze weren't a joke at all, meaning that Nat was straight up lying to their audience's faces in their response video. There's also a part where Nat claimed that they never said people were setting them up in the Craze situation, but in a leaked DM they claimed exactly that to someone else investigating this story, which is another bold-faced lie coming from this person.
I'm not like, I personally disagree. I feel like it's, you sent up shit and now you're just trying to backtrack on it and say that they set you up. I think what probably happened...
I didn't even claim that. All I said was that was LTB's fairy.
Okay. That's not true. I've seen your DMs, bro. It's not true. You said that you felt like you were set up.
They would then try to say that it was someone else's theory instead of what they just said themselves. But y'all are already aware of how slimy they are trying to get their way out of this situation, so there's no need to go any further. I kept this out of my original video because I was obviously expecting Nat to keep lying about the situation to everybody, and Nat would indeed put out their response around 2 weeks later. They even managed to get a defamation complaint through to YouTube and got my video blocked in the UK. That's how hard they were trying to go at silencing this. However, when trying to find Nat's channel today, it's entirely gone from the website like the channel never existed to begin with. I checked around to see if it was another channel name change, but nothing was coming up. And that's when I realized that something big must have happened. Well, let's take a look together and see what exactly is going on here, and let's just say what happened isn't exactly shocking to see. On September 8th, 2023, Nat would make a long-winded community tab post saying that they were leaving the internet for the sake of their mental health, going on a rant about how they try to beat their depression but it keeps getting worse, alongside general statements of self-loathing. This came as a surprise because those that were keeping up with Nat saw that they were posting actively, not missing more than 3 or 4 days between each video on the channel. It would turn out that this was all because just a few days prior, someone found an old screenshot dating back to their Nathorix channel days where they and their girlfriend at the time, Hannah, were cuddling in a livestream sleeping stream together, in which Nat is seen wearing just their underwear and nothing more for their audience to see. Given that they're a Roblox YouTuber and Roblox YouTubers attract a young minor audience alongside their past, this had people up in arms and aiming their pitchforks at him once again. On the very day of Nat's departure, a video will be uploaded of people interviewing them to understand the context behind the stream that happened back in the day. Nat would say that they didn't purposefully put themselves in that specific position and that they were generally just cuddling with their girlfriend. And someone would ask if they were aware that they knew kids were going to be watching the stream, in which Nat says that they were aware but that they were clothed so they didn't see an issue, as things devolved into a semantical discussion about whether clothed means wearing underwear or not.
But did you know that children were going to be watching the stream?
Yeah, and I didn't see a problem with being clothed. Like, even though I didn't have clothes, I had underwear, and it wasn't
You just said
you said you were
clothes, and then you said even if I didn't have clothes.
You said you were clothing. You said you didn't have clothes.
Because I think you're so clothed. Because I think you're so clothed if you're in underwear, but you just don't have like a shirt or pants on. Like you still aren't naked. That's what I view as being clothed still.
They would continue to discuss semantics for pretty much the entire encounter, with the very end getting Nat to admit that they knew they were streaming to a minor audience in their underwear.
You did stream in your underwear to fans that were most likely almost entirely minors, right? Just to like fully confirm, you did.
Like I've already stated, I believe that Creekcraft would have more minor fans.
No, I know, but you did. Well, I mean, teen is still minors, right?
I've already said a few times that.
No, I know.
Like, yeah, there'll definitely be kids watching.
You confirm, right? You confirm that you streamed in your underwear to fans that were most likely under the age of 18.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Nat didn't leave their channel because of mental health issues. They left because people found another instance of them acting very strange on the internet. Despite claiming that they left the internet, Nat would be seen in the comments of another YouTuber covering the situation in a livestream a day later on the 9th, in which they start to talk about how child abuse is lower in countries where lolly pictures are legal. Meaning, despite everyone who knows their story knowing that they're the last person to be talking about this, Nat clearly still thinks they're the right person to debate this hot topic. They would even come back on September 13th stating that they're in a better state of mind now and plan on making a proper response video to everything that's going on, saying that they got desensitized to a whole bunch of bad stuff when they were growing up hanging around bad circles on the internet, also stating that after their response video they won't be continuing the channel due to believing they aren't responsible enough to do so as the post ends. The same day of that post, a former close friend of Nat's and known lolcow Jalen would actually talk with them in DMs about how they said they were leaving, in which they argue about that with Nat baiting their own life as they leave the chat in defeat. The other member of the chat was Jalen's girlfriend at the time, which for those keeping up with the Jalen cycle on my channel actually tried to cheat on her with Nat over a year ago, adding even more juice to this story. Funnily enough, it will come out right around this time that back on May 19th, 2023, Nat has sent a suggestive image of themselves in Roblox YouTuber Parlo's Femboy Discord server, a server that contained minors and Nat knows contained minors as they were a mod in it, showing that they continued their degeneracy even after my video made a lot of more people aware about them. On September 15th, Nat would be seen in one of their friends' live streams talking about some random stuff as the user will point out that they were in the chat. Now normally I'd show you the screenshot of what they were saying, but when I came back to actually take it, I found out that just 2 days later on the 17th, Nat would straight up delete their channel off YouTube, ending their reign of terror once and for all. Leaked DMs have shown Nat saying that they've given up on having an internet career after finding out what they've done is easy to find online. Also saying that someone tried to kidnap a child after he spoke to them once in some sort of way to garner sympathy. They would then apologize for baiting their own life and oversharing their mental health issues as they weren't aware of how it was affecting the person they were speaking to. Say that they won't do a planned interview as they believe they'll just be made fun of. Again trying to say that people are attempting kidnappings in their name, and ends things off giving their well wishes to whoever they're speaking to. Things would only get worse for Nat, as on September 30th, YouTuber Green Lego Castle uploaded a video going over some exclusive information they got a hold of, such as showing how Nat tried to change her alias to the name Relenf at one point in time a few years ago before getting caught. However, the biggest piece of info is more underage allegations, this time involving them talking some type of way with another currently anonymous 14-year-old when they were 18 themselves way back during the Nathorix days. Nat would send a multitude of inappropriate messages about the 14-year-old in question involving adult acting and other things, them trying to pressure the girl into face revealing despite her clearly not wanting to, even saying she sounded like a lolly as well, and then showing discontent after she declined to send nude images to them. They would continue to push these disgusting interactions by shipping her with another member in the server and saying some more gross things. If there were any Nat defenders left on the internet, they were all but gone when watching this video. Green Lego Cats would go on to tell a story about how Nat was pressuring a girl into doing ASMR in a Discord call together one day in the server, with the girl trying to avoid it as much as they could, with Nat even offering to pay her to do it in desperation to hear her voice. They would show that Nat indeed joined the call after pressuring her into doing ASMR, and alleges that when the girl was doing it, Nat moaned during the call while others heard it. He says that he heard the audio before, but it has since been lost to time, so he can't 100% prove it, but he gives people his word that it indeed sounded like Nat.
I have heard the clip many times, and I strongly believe Nat was legitimately pleasuring himself to this ASMR of someone he knew was 14.
Nat would then leave the server just 8 days after the incident, and the people who were there were going to make reference to it in passing whenever their name was brought up. Now, despite all that we've seen about Nat, their story doesn't end here, as a brand new Roblox YouTube channel named Bloxatron would appear in late September 2023 soon after Nat left the internet. The channel was text-to-speech so nobody could hear their real voice, and the topics they covered were Roblox drama videos in similar vein to Nat's content before they left. People get suspicious as despite looking to be a brand new face to the internet, they were already trying to defend Nat in the replies to a random Twitter user talking about him. It got even more suspicious as a leaked DM would show that Nat just a few weeks earlier was talking with someone about starting a new channel without the Nattie Forsyth name attached to it, saying Jalen said the same thing already but that it would be hard and people would probably find him out sooner than later. It got even more suspicious as they would get into the everlasting lolly debate with someone, giving out talking points that were very similar to what Nat has said in the past. This would culminate in a video Bloxatron posted on the channel about the situation, which isn't really much again given its text-to-speech. However, the person behind the channel would speak for the first time, and this is what they sounded like.
Hey, so this is my voice. I'm Bloxatron. I don't really know why people think I'm Nattie or Nathorix, but it was fun to shitpost, kind of get ridiculous now. Anyway, that's kind of it. Back to the video.
Now the vocal cadence here is extremely similar to the way Nat speaks, especially when he says the words
my voice,
as it has a very similar slurring going on. However, it seems that right after this, the Bloxatron channel is gone now, as the only remainder is someone named Bloxatron 2, so it seems we won't get any definite answers to that story for now. This wasn't the last time people suspected Nat to be under a new account, however, as someone by the name Synthiox would make their way onto the internet in October 2023. People were already suspicious as they just made their social accounts online yet had over 1,000 followers on Twitter, in which they would say that someone was botting their follower numbers to troll them. People start to accuse him of being Nattie Forsyth, and so they would start to egg him on to promote their YouTube channel, arguing with them and running with the jokes that people were making at their expense. Also, the name Nathorix and Synthiox have the same kind of ring going on there, so it only made people even more suspicious. People would also see that despite them being a so-called Roblox fan, they just made their account on the site not even a week ago, and Synthiox would start to talk about Bloxatron after his name was mentioned, alongside bringing up a personal beef that had been going on for years now between a Twitter user and Parlo, showing how deep they were in the community despite supposedly just joining recently. It would get even weirder as Synthiox would make mentions of Nattie's ex-girlfriend Hannah and say she doesn't speak like that, again, despite being brand new to the community yet somehow knowing these intricate details only someone deep in the trenches would catch on to. They would say that Hannah is well known in Roblox circles to try and downplay the suspicion, and things would kinda just end off from that point onwards as people moved on. It's worth pointing out now that the account was indeed follower botted, and they would go on to retweet things by Jalen a few times, one of Nat's only friends on the internet during their time online. It's also worth pointing out that the Synthiox YouTube URL now leads to an account simply called V, so this attempt to become a YouTuber by whoever this is clearly failed as they gave up rather quickly. As we've seen now a whole year later, Nattie Forsyth was still up to their same old antics, constantly trying to change the story when it came to the biggest accusations made against him. Despite fighting hard and failing on literally every front, it took an old sleeping livestream from years ago to be the final nail in the coffin, with Green Lego Cat's video adding some extra dirt on top of the grave as it filled up. While there's been rumors of Nattie popping up on 2 occasions so far, it seems that they've indeed left the internet now that their entire degenerate history has been exposed for everyone to see. I honestly didn't think it would happen within a year after my videos released, as I had been constantly skewing things, lying, and purposefully confusing everyone whenever her story was brought up. But it finally seems that the story of Nattie Forsyth is officially over. One can only wait and see if they come back, but until then, this book has reached its end, and only time will tell if another sequel will be needed down the line.